Things are quite difficult in the real world right now, but any feelings of anxiety or insecurity you may presently be experiencing in life have their origins in the past, in the early stages of your development as a human being. Feelings of anxiety resurface when long-term personal and/or working life structures disintegrate into unfamiliar forms, with the result that the painstakingly built defense systems of the personality appear to be in danger of disintegrating and being swept away. The root cause of this feeling isn't difficult to explain. All you could do entirely on your own for the first year or so of your life was to breathe. For the fulfillment of all your other needs, you depended utterly upon the goodwill of others. Although the situation improves gradually as you learn how to act for yourself, physical development is slow, and it's not until puberty, when mental and motor skills are sufficiently developed, that your basic individual needs can begin to be satisfied without outside help. For a very long period, 15 years at the very least, the overriding need of the immature human organism is to experience total acceptance, that is, unconditional love. But even as the best human beings fall short of that ideal of perfection, the acceptance we do get is, by definition, to a greater or lesser extent, conditional. Now, the inevitable result of this is the instinctive fear that anything short of perfect, total acceptance carries with it the implication that the basic needs of our vulnerable childhood are not going to be fully met. Now, every child will instinctively sense this threat to its survival. It forms the foundation upon which the adult feelings of panic and insecurity will be built. If a child can't get itself loved unconditionally, it will spend most of its energy building up a personality structure strong enough to permanently protect those aspects of itself that it fears will be perceived as being unacceptable. Now, because of this childlike feeling of powerlessness in the grip of an external environment that to a greater or lesser extent has denied your authentic needs, you mutilate yourself in order to fit. Deformity is the price you paid in the past to avoid early abandonment. Frightened and devoid of authenticity, the child in you may still be clinging desperately to whatever it hopes will keep its head above water. This resistance to authentic self-expression, in both its psychological and physical aspects, can become an integral part of you as an individual in adult life. Although, as we've seen, its origins lie in its function of protection against an infantile threat that has long ceased to exist, these long-denied feelings continue to be unavailable to the intellect, to your centers of logic and reason. The resistance to change has become internalized, incorporated into your adult self, and that's what your present feeling of anxiety is all about. What the Unitive approach to personal rediscovery deals with particularly is your perception of what goes on rather than what actually is going on. Because it's your perception of what's happening rather than the actual happening itself that causes the problem. It's the way in which you see the world that's the problem. The problem itself is not to be found anywhere in the real existential world. It's difficult out there, that's for sure, but then you'll find that you'll be able to cope once you get in touch with what's really going on. What you can't cope with, though, is your skewed perception of it. What you perceive, what you think, is modified by your background, by your training, by your feelings, in short, by the way you've been conditioned to perceive the actuality of events in your personal past. Now, this confusion leads to a sense of alienation. You feel lost because you think you've a particular place to go to, a goal, and you don't know in which direction it is. You've lost direction. And just imagine then that you are lost, really lost, in the place which you are experiencing as being in the here and now. Now, even though you're standing still, you're thinking, I wonder, in which direction shall I go? Which one of the infinite number of possible paths shall I take? There are 360 degrees on the compass rose, but you don't know which one to follow because you don't know what, let alone where, you're aiming for. you're not aware of which direction it is, but still, you're trying to go toward it. The reality, the actual fact which you need to accept, is that once you get in touch with the actuality of where you are at the present moment, then you're not lost, you're home. Because you know reality is right here and right now. There's nowhere else you need to go.